What's good, people? What's good, people? Big Rich live on the mic radio show here on YouTube. I'm Big Rich, and welcome to the Hump Day Show, the middle of the week. I'm casual, y'all. It's the middle of the week. It's hot as heck down here in Orlando, Florida. So we're going to make it do what it do. Cold, chilling, chopping up game with the family. Appreciate you guys giving me your time and attention. We putting them out. We knocking them out. We building this wall. 30 days of all shows on time. Then we'll see we'll see what's going on. So before we start, we'll give our social media platforms. Everybody should know it, but if you don't, if you're new to it, it's Twitter is capital B, capital R, live on the mic. Instagram is Big Rich live on the mic, _, between each word. Our email address is bigrichliveo.the-mic@gmail.com, and our website is bigrichliveo.the-mic.com. Black Spot and Facebook pages is blackspot.com, facebook.com/Big Rich Live on the mic. Like, share, and subscribe this channel. Share this video, if you will, on your social media platforms. Each one teach one. That's how we roll here. We trying to build the platform and get the right information out. You guys have motivated me. You continue to motivate me by your views and your tweets and retweets and stuff like that. So we're going to keep it moving. Before we get into the subjects, we got 3 subjects today. Before we get into subjects, I want to remind you guys that tomorrow we launch the first episode, first installment, first show of African American News, hosted by Big Rich. Again, that would be me. So I'm real excited. I have the whole, show notes done, and we know what we're going to do. And I'm sort of sad that we can't do the live guests tomorrow, but I didn't want to just go ahead on and leave it for another week. So we're going to launch it this Thursday, and then next Thursday, and then hopefully every Thursday after that, we'll have some type of guest either call in or actually sit in the studio. And hey, if you can see this here, let me move this over. See, we got separate mics and stuff like that. So hopefully we can now go ahead on and get that on and popping and have a really, really good time, a really, really good show. So this is basically the first two subjects are basically sports centric. One of them, I picked myself. It was just something that I wanted to address. And then the other one is something that we need to really be mindful of. And then the last one is law enforcement related, and we'll get into it. I've gotten a couple of tweets and emails about that. So the first one is an alleged rape case. Young brother named Jerron Connolly. He is a football star or former football star of Ohio State, and he is projected to go in the first round. I want to say that the draft, NFL draft, either this Thursday or next year. I don't follow the draft like that. So this comes out from the Associated Press. It says, Jerron Connolly has been named in a police report from a woman who claims he raped her, and that the former Ohio State star insists that the allegations are completely fabricated. According to police reports obtained by TMZ, the 23-year-old female claims Connolly raped her in a Cleveland hotel bathroom on April 9th. That's the beginning of this month. The reports state that a woman met Connolly in the elevator at the Westin in Cleveland, and he asked her to come back to her room with his friends. You can read more of the details below. I'm just reading it as it is here. It says, according to the report, the accuser says she met Connolly in the elevator. He asked her to have a foursome with another friend of his. The woman says she declined and offered to watch the other people have sex instead. A short time later, the woman said Connolly unbuttoned her pants and began to have sex with her. She claimed she said, "No, stop, it hurts," but he kept until he finished. She said he then kicked her out of the hotel room. The woman called 911 and described her assailant as a black male who wouldn't take his sunglasses off and had an Ohio State tattoo on his forearm. The woman says she went to a local hospital where a rape kit was administered, but she refused to speak to cops afterwards. Two of Connolly's friends, who were also in the hotel, told police Conley had no physical contact with the accuser, and they insist the woman just got angry when she had been told to leave the room. Conley's attorney called the allegations ludicrous and ridiculous, and the police are still investigating. Okay. First, before I get into this, because I know I'm piss a lot of people off and I'm going to get some pushback. But first, let me say this. I do not condone rape, harming women, children, anything like that. If a woman says no, she says no, period. I don't care if she's naked or whatever. We'll get into what I was taught growing up, and it's not any cookie cutter type thing. I was actually taught that you don't have sex with women that you just meet. You don't have sex with drunk women, and you don't have sex with women who are high on drugs. Those three are no. I don't care how fine she is. I don't care how horny you are, whatever. If you knock out those three, the odds of you being in this type of situation are slim to none. I don't care who you are. But let's just break down this story, because I don't believe this story at all. But let's just break down this story. So you mean to tell me this female, I don't know if she's white or black or Hispanic, whatever. But this female saying that she met a total stranger. Because Mr. Conley is 6'5", I want to say. I don't have his. Let me see if I can bring up his statistics. Let me see if I can bring it up here. Okay, he's 6 foot, 195 pounds. Chisel steel. He's a junior, three seasons as a cornerback for Ohio State, right? So what you're trying to tell me is you meet a perfect stranger, right? You've never met this person before in an elevator, and this person tells you to come back to his room to have a foursome with him and his boys and some other chicks. You say, no, I don't want to have sex with you. I don't want to participate, but I'll come and watch. Does that make any sense to you? I mean, really, does that make any sense to you? It don't make no sense to me at all. None. So, and then, now think about it now. You got two other cats, because it says a foursome. So if it's a foursome, it's 4 dudes, 4 women, just to say that, right? So you got all of these people in here. He unbuttons your pants and began having sex with you. Now, I'm not asking for a play-by-play, a blow-by-blow, right? But it's a lot of shit that has to happen between unbuttoning your pants to having sex with you. So what you want me to believe is that all of this stuff went by. Nobody else said nothing. Nobody said, hey, I'm out of here. Nobody stopped having sex. Nobody said, hey, man, chill. Nobody has come forward and said, hey, he did this. Nothing. Okay, so that's 2 strikes. The third strike is she describes her assailant as a black male who wouldn't take his sunglasses off and had an Ohio State tattoo on his forearm. Really? So all of this time, you telling him, no, stop, it hurts. He is pulling your pants down, pulling your underwear down, having sex with you. Sunglasses stay on. That's the only thing you see. Come on now. Come on. Really? That in correlation with the other 2, those are 3 strikes. I don't believe at all. And the fact that she wouldn't talk to the cops afterwards speaks volumes. Now, I know my rape advocates are going to say that people don't want, that is not necessarily a bad thing if a person doesn't want to relive that incident. True. But remember, she went to the doctor, went through a whole rape kit. Now, y'all seem to forget. Some of y'all might forget. I was a police officer for 23 years. I've investigated many a rape. And the hardest thing to do is get them to do the rape kit, because it's very evasive. It's very invasive. That's what I'm saying. Not evasive, invasive. So it's very hard to get them. They'll tell you, now granted, they're not going to sit up there and really just want to tell you play by play. I'm not saying that. It's not a porno or something like that. But The talking to the police, that's the easiest thing out of the other. So it's like the cart before the horse type things. So I don't believe that at all. And I believe Mr. Conley when he says that it never happened. And I believe his two boys, and they said he never had any physical contact with her. But what I'm pissed off, Mr. Conley, is, bruh, you 23. Now, I don't even know how old he is. Does it say how old he is? Hold on. Now, let me see if it says how old he is. No, it don't say how old he is. But, I mean, think about it. He's a junior, so he might be 23 himself. He might be 22, 23, something around that area, right? So you 21 to 23, right? And you about to get paid. You about to get, the best thing that you've ever had as far as being drafted in the NFL and making millions and trying to do things for yourself and your family. And you will put yourself in this position to invite a total stranger to your room. Let me tell you something. I ain't the biggest, the longest, the finest, the richest, the smoothest, the slickest brother on the face of this earth, but I've had my fair share of women, okay? I can die today and be very, very content, okay, with my sexual exploits. I would think that's the stick up. That's the setup. Why would you even put yourself in that position? Why? For what? Excuse my friend, for some ass? Really? Why would you allow yourself to be put in that position in the first place? You should know better. You should know better. So I don't know what the deal is. I think that, this might not harm him. I think he might can survive this, especially if the cops are investigating it and she's not trying to cooperate, because, you'll have to also think about, she could sit around there and be like, well, shoot, if they find out that I'm lying, then I'm dealing with charges and stuff like that. Why don't you just go ahead and pay me? No. Don't pay her a quarter. Now, I'll be the first one to say, I don't know everything. I wasn't there. I wasn't in the room. And if it comes out that he did do that, then I'll be the first one to come on my show and apologize and say that I was wrong. I'd be willing to bet big money that I'm not. And if you think about it, you don't feel that way either. You're not real easy about it either. At least a lot of the tweets and the emails that I've been getting about this case, I don't see a lot of people saying, I believe her 100%. Even women. Now, yeah, you got your women that, just regardless, we all pigs, but I've gotten a fair share of women that be like, yeah, it just don't add up. A and B or 1 and 2 don't equal 3, that type of stuff. Right. So that's it. Put your comments down below and let me know, what you think about that. The second subject is about Warren Sapp and his comments about Myles Garrett. First, disclaimer, I know Warren Sapp. He probably doesn't remember me. I'm talking about when he was young, because he's from Apopka, which is not too far from Orlando, and I was a police officer. I came in contact with him many a time. It was never in a negative way, so it was never. But some of the clubs that I would bounce at and stuff like that I would do security for, he would show up and that type of stuff. Very, very down to earth, lovable type brother. Always showed me the respect, and I respected him for that. But I really did not like his comments, about Myles Garrett. Now, this here, I quote, it says, Warren Sapp, this is from the AP also. I'm sorry, this is from ESPN. It said, Adam Schefter. It says, Warren Sapp calls Myles Garrett lazy, says he's not no #1 pick material. Hall of Fame defensive lineman Warren Sapp offered a critical assessment of Texas A&M Aggie defensive end Myles Garrett, who's widely expected to be the first pick in the 2017 NFL Draft. Again, according to Adam Schefter, he shared Sapp's comments. I don't see it for this kid. I see the splash plays. Everyone gets those. Where's the game he took over? Where? any defensive lineman who's the number one pick, you turn up and you say, there it is. This kid, no, I don't. I'm pretty plain and a frank guy, and I watch the tape and he disappears. I watched the tape and he absolutely disappears. Sapp added that Garrett is a lazy kid that makes 4 plays a game. Now, if you take out the lazy kid comment, I'm down with it. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, okay, you know, I understand. I understand that. I truly do. Warren Sapp is a Hall of Famer, one of the best defensive linemen to ever play the game. And he was asked his opinion. And like he says, that he's a pretty plain and frank guy. I get that. But you didn't have to go there and call this kid, because that's what he is. He's a young man who's just starting his football career. You didn't have to call him lazy. And what kills me about this, and the reason that I felt that I had to address it, was because Warren, anybody who know about Warren had tested positive for marijuana. I don't know if it was at the combine. I think it might have been at the combine or maybe before the draft. Something. He dropped. Warren Sapp was supposed to go in the top 5, if not the top 10. Warren Sapp dropped all the way to the bottom of the draft. That's how Tampa Bay was able to get him and Derrick Brooks. You feel what I'm saying? He was the only one, and unless my memory mistakes me, he was the only one left in the green room to be picked. You follow what I'm saying? So why would you say something like that? We, as African Americans, we need to be careful about what we say to perpetuate the stereotypes and the crap that other people put on us and they don't even know us. Now, am I critical on my blacks? And yes, and I break it down. But see, laziness is a subjective thing. I'm taking plays off. Let me tell you something. Like I finished saying, Warren Sapp is one of the greatest, but he didn't play 100% every down. No, he didn't. When he played for the Raiders, he didn't. Now, his first couple years, I would gather to believe that he did every play because he was trying to crush every team that passed him by because of the testing positive for marijuana. But how do you say that again? So see this. Look what happens. This is he says that he's asked his opinion by Adam Schefter, who I'm not disputing Adam Schefter's professionalism or integrity. I'm not doing that at all. I'm not besmirching that at all. But what I'm saying is he works for ESPN. He's part of the dominant society. So he comes to you and then you basically say something. Because let me tell you something. If Adam had said that, or somebody other than maybe said like a Dick Butkus or something like that who played, they wouldn't have gotten away with it. They were like, how dare you say that? But I can go to a brother, a respected brother, know that he gonna say some silly shit, and then I'm gonna bring that out and then see now everybody's like, oh, well, that's just, Warren, being Warren. I was watching Undisputed Monday when this came out, because this is from Monday when it came out, and Shannon was pretty much consistent saying, he didn't see it. He didn't feel that Myles Garrett measured up to his measurables, every game, every snap, that type of stuff like that. But I didn't like Skip Bayless. Again, Skip Bayless, I played more sports than Skip Bayless ever thought about doing as far as the big three. But I'm 100%, I agree with Warren Sapp and no. First of all, how you know a person's lazy? You know? You just going by what you see. Okay, but you also have a responsibility. We have a responsibility to do something. And the thing is, I preface that by saying I talk bad about black people all when they deserve it. My next and last segment is about a black man, and he deserves all the vitriol I'm gonna give him. But this is based on fact, not based on conjecture or based on this is what I see. Well, okay, somebody else, maybe a Bruce Smith, might have saw it, and he might think something different. You know, they said the same thing about Jadeveon Clowney. Said the same thing his whole senior year. Oh, he just mailed it in. Now he's one of the best linemen in the dang on league. Really? I just feel that Warren is better than that. He should be better than that. And if he's not, then, you know, maybe I don't know him like I think I know him. You follow what I'm saying? We have a responsibility to tell the truth and to be upfront, but we also need to realize that sometimes we're being used as tools to say things about our own that the dominant society feels that they can't. So, yeah. And I bet you Adam was like, wow, is this what he's saying? You know, I'm going to quote you on this. That type of say, oh, yeah, well, you know, quote me on it. Not knowing the damage you could do not only to our people, but to this young man. This young man is trying to get something. You got yours, bruh. You got yours. You made your millions. So now you're going to shit on this man. Really? On your opinions? Not something that you know. You didn't, you didn't. Now you could probably say, well, maybe I spoke to coaches. And maybe here, I don't know. I don't know. I'm going by what I see. The same way where it sounds like he's going by what he sees. That's what he said. He said, I look at his tapes. He didn't say that I spoke to his defensive line coaches. I spoke to his teammates. Maybe he did, and Adam just didn't quote him on that. But I just think that's just piss poor. It really is. And I expect better from Warren. And, you know, we just got to be better. We got to do better. So that's, you know, let me know what you think about that. If you agree with what I said, maybe you might agree with what Warren says. You know, hey, you know, it's to each his own, really. Okay, the last segment is about coon-ass Sheriff David Clarke and his jail. This is from AP. It says, in Sheriff David Clarke's jail, where water was kept from a mentally ill inmate for 7 days before he died of dehydration. This is the story. So just a few hours into Terrell Thomas's 8-day in solitary confinement at the Milwaukee County Jail last year, corrections officer found a 38-year-old on the ground not moving. He was dead. Thomas had spent the final days begging for water. Inmates later told Milwaukee Journal Sentinel because jail staff had shut off the flow to the pipe in his cell as punishment for bad behavior. The cause of death is ultimately ruled profound dehydration, and the medical examiner classified it as a homicide, meaning the death at the hands of other. An announcement that drew the torrent of rage from Sheriff David Clarke, a tough-talking, weak-minded, self-hating coon and loyal President Trump surrogate. And no, I put them other three right in the middle of it because he ain't shit. It's cool to sit up there and talk behind the mic or you sitting around with your uniform on, but you ain't gonna come in my face and talk that trash. Period. That's just not gonna happen. And I guarantee you that won't happen. Now I know he tried that crap with some white guy on the plane, and that was in Milwaukee. Excuse me, I was in Wisconsin. He's not going to come down to Florida and Orlando and start talking trash. He's not going to go to New York and start talking trash, not to no brothers. He's a coward. He's a coward. You know somebody, and I know I'm going off on a tangent, and I don't like him. You know, I went off on a tangent on Steve Harvey the other show. I don't like him neither. But you look at it, every time you see David Clarke, what does he have on? He has on his uniform. That means if you take that uniform off of him, that man will commit suicide. He would literally die. He is not a man who happens to be the sheriff. He is a sheriff that's trying to be a man, meaning that is his life, to be the sheriff of that bullshit ass county. That's who he is, period. You strip that uniform off him, he'll be a coward. He'll eat his gun in no time, or he get his ass kicked, one of the two. I don't know which one will come first. But getting back to the story, it says, suddenly, nearly a year later, no criminal charges have been filed in the Thomas death. Are you surprised? It says but an inquest this week by prosecutors could shed more light on the circumstances of the case, whether someone should be held responsible, and if so, who or for what. The first major court revelations came Monday when prosecutors told the jury that Thomas had endured 7 days without any liquid, lost 35 pounds, and grew weak and quiet before he died inside his cell last year, reported the Journal reported the newspaper. I'm not going to say all that. By the end of the week, Assistant District Attorney Kurt Binkley told jurors that they will be asked to answer 3 questions, according to Fox 6. Quote, what was the cause of Mr. Thomas' death? Was it a result of criminal activity? And if so, who committed the crime? Inquests are really rare in the United States. Under Wisconsin law, an inquest may be ordered by a prosecutor when a death is considered suspicious or possibly criminal. Witnesses are subpoenaed and testimony is presented to a jury, and in this case, or a judge under oath. The judge or the jury determines whether the deceased came to his or her death by criminal means, and if so, the specific crimes committed in the name of the person or persons, if known, having committed the crime. Whether deceased came to his or her death by natural causes, accident, suicide, or act privileged by law. Privileged by law meaning they was put to death. Okay, like a death sentence. The potential crime that may have been committed is felony abuse of an inmate. Prosecutors wrote in a motion filed March without indicating who specifically did the abusing. During the opening statement, Binkley said 3 correction officers were captured on surveillance video cutting off Thomas's water supply, reported the newspaper. They never turned it back on and failed to document the action or alert their supervisors. This just basically shows what I've said before about the justice system. I always preference my criticism by saying I know that there are plenty of people who need to be locked up. There are certain people who need to be put to death. Really and truly. You go and you kill up a family you don't know and then you eat them. There's something wrong with you. You don't need to be amongst us. You are not positively you are not contributing to this society in a positive way at all. And there are people that are there. There's some evil people on this world that needs to be locked up. I feel that there is a use for jails, but I also feel that the majority of people in jail are either innocent or they shouldn't be in jail. And it's a bigger societal issue. I got to sell crack. I got to sell drugs because I can't get a job. You know what I'm saying? Y'all done stripped all the resources from our neighborhoods and turn your back on it. So I got to do what I got to do. That type of stuff. But this also shows the lack of accountability of a jail staff and a sheriff, period. I've always said that if you as the state take the liberties of a citizen of this nation, you should be responsible for their health. What that means is they shouldn't have to worry about getting raped. They shouldn't have to worry about being shanked. They shouldn't have to worry about being pimped out, holed out. They shouldn't have to be worried about anything. Do you know that a lot of nonviolent felons go into prison and then come out harder and broken than they went in? How do you do that? And don't give me that crap. I know there's a whole lot of people, because we go back and forth on Twitter. There's a lot of people that be like, dude, fuck them. Excuse my French. I let the F-bomb go, but they be like, to hell with them. They shouldn't have did the crime. Well, again, if you believe that half the people, not even say half the people, if you believe that there's people that is in jail and in prison right now that are innocent, that have been wrongfully convicted, if you believe that, then you then have to believe that, okay, well, now because there might be a chance that you was wrongfully convicted, then you need to be protected. So let's just say, look at all the people who are being exonerated with DNA right now. Hundreds of people. And it would be thousands if it wasn't so long and it wasn't so costly to do the DNA checks or to find old evidence there probably be thousands upon thousands of people who would be exonerated right now. Just look at the numbers. You can't say that over 2.7 million people that is incarcerated in our jails, the 6 to 7 million that are under control, some type of control of the state, all of them were guilty? Really? Come on now. I mean, really, just think about it. You feel me? So I've heard this before, that you get treated by being rich, and you get better treated being rich and guilty than poor and innocent. So when you have a person, and that's the thing is, Clarke is over the jail. He is messing with the bad guys. So people love that. They love that. Really, really. They love that. They love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. People have lost their humanity. Us as a whole, we're chipping away of the humanity of this nation, of this world, really, where you feel that, a jury said that the person was convicted. Okay, this is a black and brown person in a county that's 25 to 50% African American or Latin American, but yet and still this jury was all white people who really don't have any interaction with black people at all. But that's a fair jury. That's a fair verdict. You follow what I'm saying? So I say this because I don't think that anybody's going to get convicted, because it's very hard for you to find out who it is. That's my thing. And then you're going to have people that be like, oh, well, the person's a convict. They're supposed to lie. Cops lie too. We're no better than anybody else. We're human. Everybody tells fibs. I don't give a damn what you say. If you say you don't, then you tell. That's the first fib that you're telling. Everybody, just like everybody feels hate, everybody feels love. Don't sit around there and say you have a virtue on, I've never lied in my life. Really? Okay. Oh, okay. That's just, I throw the bullshit flag on that. So in this instance, it just shows you the neglect that we have towards the least of these, the quote unquote criminals. And I say that because being a cop for 23 years, I've been in that position where I've looked down on these people. Why the hell can't y'all get a job? Yes, there's some lazy, evil people. I've already said that. There's some people who ain't gonna be shit, ain't never was shit, ain't gonna be shit. That's just period. But that goes across the board. That's the bell curve theory. The bell curve theory is 10% are angels, 10% are devils, and 80% is where the majority of us live. Some of us are more godly, some of us are more evil. It is what it is. So I'm not sitting around here and one of these people will be, oh, we need to abolish all jails and nobody need to have jails. I think that's stupid. Usually these are the people who've never been robbed, raped, had anybody murdered and killed, in their family. But it's ridiculous. It really is. So, I'm going to keep my eyes on the pulse. I know you guys, when you guys see something involving law enforcement, you run to me. You think, because I know some of y'all think that I'm going to be that, oh, well, you got to look at the big picture. No, if it's crap, I'm going to call it crap. But if it's something that needed to be done, that's what needed to be done. That's what it is. I mean, like when we spoke about the United thing, when they had to drag the Asian man off the plane, I didn't say anything bad about the officers. They did what they were supposed to. I've been in that situation when somebody called you and said, look, I need this person to go. Now, I didn't like the way they particularly handled it, but then again, I was told later on, say, hey, well, Rich, you don't know. Maybe they did spend 5-10 minutes trying to talk to him and he just wasn't trying to hear it. Maybe that was the case. Okay, if that was the case, then yeah, you had to do what you had to do. But the fact of the matter is, when you see stuff like this and you see that nobody is up in arms, this man was killed. This man was basically starved to death. Dehydration. Do you know how bad you have to be to succumb to dehydration? Really? Your body is made, I think our bodies is made up of 70% water, liquid, if you will. Really? I think whoever the officers were need to be fired, brought up on charges. I believe that the supervisors need to be suspended at least, if not demoted. And I believe that Sheriff Clarke need to be impeached. This is probably not the last straw. I thought when he had threatened the white dude in the airport, that would be the last straw. But see, he'll get his comeuppance. That's just pretty much it. You know, you just will be in your little bubble, and that is what it is. Just remember this: when the dog turns around and bites the master, I'll be the first one to say I told you so. So that's the end of our show. Remember, tomorrow, African American News hosted by me. We're going to get it on and popping. So in the meantime, in the between time, stay safe, stay blessed, stay woke. Peace. And I'm out of here.